Alrighty, well, howdy there, and welcome to Problem Solver Politics tonight. I'm sure you guys have noticed already that there is no Cardin here today. He is currently... I don't know, I'll let you guys use your imagination on that one. Anyways, I thought it'd be fun tonight to have a little stream anyway and talk about... There we go, my headphones turned down. Talk about something that's actually kind of an old story a little bit that's been kind of brought back up in the last few days, and then also a little bit around it. So I don't know if that was the greatest lead in, but we'll go in anyway. Here we go. So this article today posted in CNBC, or I believe posted yesterday, updated today. Anyway, so Mark Cuban wants every household in America to receive a $1,000 stimulus check every 2 weeks for the next 2 months, but they leave out a very kind of crucial, condition to this, which is what I want to talk about here, and I think it really highlights kind of something we talked about before, months ago, kind of when the pandemic first started, is that there's a lot of movement during the pandemic for direct cash relief, direct cash payments in general. We've seen these a lot. But I just kind of want you to talk about, there's definitely a disconnect you'll notice between the kind of UBI and the spirit of UBI is, and what these direct cash relief plans are, mainly just due to necessity, right? And this is a good example of it. Now, this actually isn't a wholly new idea for Mark Cuban. He proposed this before, and we'll go through that as well. Anyways, he mentions that since Congress still unable to pass the second stimulant bill, which we'll have to get over that right now. That has been a bit of a... No, let's go through Mark Cuban first. Anyway, so he's proposing stimulus checks, $1,000 twice a month. However, additionally, families would have to spend each check within 10 days or they would lose the money. He believes this use-it-or-lose-it approach would be beneficial because it would be promoting spending, which would help businesses stay open and stimulate the economy, which, yes. I don't care what they spend it on, Cuban told KNX 1070 radio. It could be candy, it could be rent, it could be their mortgage, it could be anything they deem necessary or that they want. Could be candy, I don't like that. And then I want to mention, actually, I think I want to just show you, no, we'll go over this. Sorry, I had a couple articles pulled up before this, and I closed them and opened new ones, so it's taking me a second. Anyway, without mandating the money that you spent within 10 days of receipt, Cuban believes many Americans will save it, which, yes, that's probably what would happen. People are uncertain about their future, so rather than spending, they save, he says. He has a point. Many Americans have been saving more amid the pandemic than ever. In April, the personal savings rates, yada, yada, yada. The whole goal is to get the money every 2 weeks into the economy, he says. Once businesses start having demand, even if they're closed and working online, then there's a reason for them to bring back employees and retain those employees if demand is sustained. Now, we're going to go through a little tweet thread he put out back in May talking about this. Which, by the way, no offense to Mark Cuban, I get how cool it is that he won an NBA title, but as the years go by, he's just kind of becoming one of those guys that has a picture from 15 years of him on his profile, It's like, yeah, I don't look like that anymore, man. Anyway, he mentions again back in May that the idea of that, in addition, because this will take time, we need to consider an interim spending stimulus program. All 128 million households to get a $1,000 check every 2 weeks in the next 2 months, but that must be spent within 10 days of receipt or it expires. This program will cost about $500 billion, but it will allow for demand, yada, yada, and he goes through. But he brought this up in May originally. Now, instinctively, I hate that idea, and I'm not going to say I'm smarter than Mark Cuban, that's my point, but it just means immediately my kind of knee-jerk reaction on that is kind of a little bit well, that kind of sounds like That sounds like using direct cash payments in a bad way, where it really is just artificially boosting things. People are just going to go to well, crap, I have 3 days to spend my $1,400 because, I don't know, life happens. Or maybe you paid your bills and you have $500 left and you have to spend it in 2 days. So it's I guess I'll go buy, I don't know. Especially that's the weird thing too. You'd get every 14 days you'd get a card, but you only have 10 days to use it. So it'd be a few days there where it's that money's just gone. So hopefully you buy 4 days of food or whatever. But the reason why I think now would be a little bit different, and I think, here we go. Thought I closed the article. I hadn't. It was just on CNN. But here's the reason why, and then also, there we go. I resized it. The reason I want to bring this up, though, is because UBI is definitely universal basic income. The idea of just having the government universally distribute money, kind of cut out some of what we have currently set up as social programs. Basically, with the idea being the administration and the union jobs and all this, it just becomes the bloat and waste. The money doesn't get to the people. We end up having these absurd things like it is really absurd. I don't want to get into it, but some of these things, if you apply for benefits, it's basically like show up hat in hand and beg for money and say, I swear I'm poor, please. It's crazy what they do. It's like it's more dignifying at that point to just give somebody money and say, do with it what you will. Mandating they spend it in 10 days. Like, spend it on candy if you want. Like, I don't like that at all. However, we're in a pandemic. So this is what's interesting. This article, I believe, also came out today. And this is that economists are growing more worried about the recovery and blame Congress. Now, this is coming from Goldman Sachs. Check this out. The U.S. economic recovery will slow more than feared during the final 3 months of the year because Congress is almost certainly will not provide federal aid, Goldman Sachs said on Thursday. There we go. Got it open. The Wall Street Bank slashes fourth quarter U.S. gross domestic product growth forecast in half to just 3% of an annualized basis because of the deadlock in Washington, which, what does that mean? We'll keep going. That mark an extreme deceleration from the rapid growth economists are predicting for the third quarter when Goldman Sachs expects U.S. GDP to grow at an annualized pace. Here we go. This is the biggest thing right here. At this point, we think it is clear that Congress will not pass additional fiscal stimulus, which they're trying right now as we speak, but we'll see. We now think any further stimulus will wait until early 2021, which is some of the thing on hold. But that's a big deal because the economy has been screaming out for more help from Uncle Sam, for example. Another 807,000 Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week, a level that's 4 times higher than before the pandemic. That is big, and that's also some of the money, the $600 a week they have people who had their wages impacted or had lost their work due to COVID. Now, here's the other thing, though. Many on Wall Street, Goldman Sachs is assuming another $1 trillion of stimulus was coming to boost the recovery. However, lawmakers have been unable to reach a deal on the size and composition of a recovery package, and that was even before the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg set off a huge scramble in Washington over her replacement. Basically, though, it really does feel like a lot of these people, and we can go through and keep seeing it, but I mean, I'm sure you could imagine economists, like most of us, were assuming Congress would get a deal done before 2021, right? So when they're doing their projections, they're saying, well, assuming, and because by the way, they mentioned $1 trillion, I believe right here, with they had been assuming. If the Democrats get what they consider to be their stripped down bill passed, I'll pull that up for you guys right now. I believe I have this. I mean, this is a big report by Market Watch. A last-ditch effort has been made to jumpstart fiscal stimulus talks before campaigning for November's election kicks in high gear, as Democrats prepare a $2 trillion-plus bill to boost the economy in the wake of the coronavirus. $2 trillion. Imagine that. You're trying to be, some big brain Goldman Sachs financial advisor or financial, looking ahead. And it's like, well, the federal government either is or isn't going to pump $2 trillion into the economy in a stimulus. It's like, well, it's a big is or isn't it? And they mention in here, probably one of the reasons why they're focusing more on 1 million. I think they have it here. Yeah, that the White House last offer, I believe coming from the Senate, was closer to 1.3 trillion instead of 2 point whatever trillion. So there's about $1 trillion difference there, which is a big difference. But still, exactly, even if that number was half, it would be what it is. So it is one of the interesting things to think about with, it's kind of, I go back and revisit now what Mark Cuban was talking about originally here, saying that you can get the money, but you have to spend it in 2 weeks or 10 days. Because originally I'm like, that's terrible. It's kind of defeats the purpose of what universal basic income is supposed to be. It feels more like we're just kind of like, I mean, I don't, it's like the fire of the economy is flaming, dwindling. You're just pouring lighter fluid on it. And it's like, buy me 9 seconds. I mean, that buys us 10 days. Okay. Everybody spent their mandatory 10 days, according to Mark Cuban, candy if you want. I mean, like, well, people just going to go buy video games and clothes and can I spend that on stocks? Can I invest it? Can I just say, okay, fine. Can I go to Vegas and put it on red? Can I put $1,000 on green once every 2 weeks from the federal government? Does that count? Right? Like, I don't now, according to him, basically, as far as I understand with what they do for, the current like PUA money, the pandemic unemployment assistance, I think it just goes through Bank of America and you get a card. Like you just use and spend that money like you would anywhere else. I think theoretically could do that. So I don't know. Maybe that is the move. But again, normally I would never be for that at all. I would say that seems like, I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm just saying that doesn't seem like the kind of what I would advocate for along the lines of UBI. But then at the same time, like, like most people, a lot of these economists, a lot of these advisors, a lot of the big brains we pay for this stuff, I mean, they were assuming there's going to be somewhere between, $1 and $2 trillion in the form of stimulus put in the economy by now. And now it looks like maybe not. That might not happen. We might go to after the election, which is a little bit much for me. I have to imagine there's no way the House is that, and pardon my language, they're just that far up their own asses. They think they can get away with stalling out these stimulus bill discussions for, like, basically at that point it would be like 5 months. It would have been from what? There are 4 months. It'd basically be from August till like, and then after the election, I don't think anyone thinks after the election finish or after election day, whenever that is, right? Well, you know what I mean? Not the actual day, but I mean, whenever we finally say the election's over, we've counted all the ballots, this is the result, is stimulus even going to be the number one thing on their mind, or is fighting each other going to be the number one thing on their mind? Is it going to be, well, we got to do it? So when does this thing get passed then, if not now? And then also, like, people are going to stop caring about all this BS they're peddling real quick when it's like, wow, that money you promised me back in August isn't here, and it's December. Where was it? We just couldn't get we had a $1 trillion difference that never got settled. And then, Supreme Court, other things, we just never got it settled. It just never got handled. Whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll get away with it. Maybe. Let's see. Do they have I want to see if they have because I mean, this is, at this point, the bill's expected to include funding for major items that have found widespread support among both parties in the past, such as direct payments to households. We were speaking about that. The Paycheck Protection Program, which infamous now, and the revival of the federal add-on to state unemployment benefits, which would be the Payment Unemployment PUA, I think is what they call it in California. Be additional. At the time, it was $600 a week added on to whatever your state unemployment was. Right now, it's a little bit weird because Trump, I believe, passed an executive order. Because the $600 originally allotted ran up, I believe, in July. And the president signed an executive order, but I believe that money went to the states and they're, kind of passing it out discretionary. It's a mess. Who knows what's going to happen, but... Excuse me. But, I don't know. I really... Yeah, because I cannot imagine. A renewal of aid to airlines and money to restaurants to stay open is going to be the least popular part of this. But even then, like, if they can't get this thing passed, I don't... It is getting to the point of, like, what are we paying these people for, Like, what is their job if not to get this stuff passed? Because there was reports earlier today that it was done. That it was like, okay, they're not going to get one of these passed till after the election. It's just, don't worry about it. Don't even think about it anymore. Well, okay, this is interesting. Ryan Agodawa said, I recently got back pay of unemployment payments, like $10,000. Okay, that is one of the other kind of, how would I put it? The way they've been screwing around with this, now, I'm not sure what your exact scenario was, but the amount of people, that have been reporting and that I've been hearing from all the time being like, I've been applying and they just say there's a holdup. Like or like, they're approved, my money should be here. There's a holdup, it's coming. Now I'm glad to see they actually did include the back pay, but yeah, I mean, there's people where, their back pay is building up to like 5 figures because the government can't get their money, even if stuff's passed. Actually, good point someone brought up. Matuz Strowski, thank you. Many congressmen and senators don't care about their salary. That's not where the money. That's a good point. I shouldn't say, why do we bother paying these people? We could stop. They wouldn't notice. They'd be like, oh, you stop paying me? I didn't notice. Why do we allow these people to get away with this stuff then? I don't know. Maybe Congress will get their act together. They'll get this passed. But Like, could you imagine that? I mean, how many people are relying on help from the... Like, and here's the thing. You know what? I kind of like joke around that there's like multiple tiers of people. You know what I mean? Like, there's the investor, there's like the taxpayer, and there's like the citizen. And it's like the citizens get screwed, whatever. The taxpayers start getting screwed. The investors start getting screwed. We got a problem. And we're at that point now. You know, we got the Goldman Sachs types coming out saying like, that $1 trillion we were expecting isn't here. It's one thing to, you know, screw the simps out there, but like you're screwing us. Which is like, yeah. You know what's sad? The Goldman Sachs types of the world can hold Congress accountable. We can't. We could just be like, we trust you people and rely on you for help. And they'll be like, okay, nice. These people come kicking doors in, like saying, what the hell are you doing? They start throwing around all these numbers and these figures. They start saying, I'm losing my ass this quarter because you guys can't get your act together. I mean, like, 1 trillion going through the numbers they're talking about, which is what, you know, I guess according to CNN Business, what people have been kind of expecting. That's the low end. That's half of what Congress is going to propose, apparently. Think about it. Congress meets them in the middle, cuts a deal at like 1.5 trillion. That would be more money than they were expecting. I don't know. I don't want to go off too far off on this. But I just mean, it's kind of the reason why I wanted to bring both these things up, I guess. Sorry. It's just you can see how dire some of these things with the economy is getting, and the fact that it didn't need to be getting this dire in the first place. I believe, I want to see if I can find the right article, but like, I believe from what I've understood following this stuff, that, yeah, they mentioned it here in the Market Watch. Thank you. Little has changed since talks broke down in early August amongst Democrats in the White House. Early August. It's been like, what, 40 something days almost, probably, maybe longer? And they've moved nowhere? I get they're on vacation, part of it, right? But geez, man. You think they figure something out. Either way. A lot of people are looking at him now. A lot of people. So anyway, we'll see if any comments in chat. I just wanted to go through the. I don't know. I read like the tweet. It was like someone tweeted the headline right earlier today that Congress to break until after election without a stimulus bill passed. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I cannot believe this. It's one of those things like, you know, like. Anything in life, right? Like you ask someone to do something and then no one talks about it for a while and you just like assume, well, I guess they did it. It must have been done, right? And then all of a sudden you ask them like, oh no, I just never did that. It's like, what the hell? How was this not done? It's been so long. It's a stimulus. I'm like, every now and then you're like, yeah, that isn't passed, is it? I assume eventually they work on something. These people got 24 hours in a day like I do. What are they doing with it? Anyway. Adam Duffy, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Said, don't worry, when I'm president, we'll have UBI and PSP will be national TV. Hey, I'll be the state propagandist. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let's see. And I thought there was one other story I wanted to pull up. I think I closed a bunch of tabs before I got started because I decided I was going to switch it up and talk about some other stuff. And no, they're all closed, so not on the top of my hand. What's the other thing's funny too is I'm not going to say that I am some federal scholar about how the institutions run. As far as I understand things, they bring up Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of those articles. As far as I understand, that's really not that's not Congress's business. Like the House of Representatives doesn't do anything about that. It's, I believe, a Senate issue. So, but I don't know. They got a grandstand, I guess. Jerry Nadler's got a waddle off camera, whatever that was. Couldn't believe when I saw it. I mean, I couldn't believe when I saw a video. Just thinking, here, I'm gonna pull it up. And I'm not gonna speculate on what happened, but it's just like, Jesus, man, like he looks like an old guy who's like struggling here. It's a little bit like. Here we go. I'll try to crop the snide comments out of here. But I mean, like look at this. Like, look at him standing next to Nancy Pelosi, who looks like she's like, who is? I mean, she was like in her 70s. It's like, what the hell's going on here? Imagine that. Imagine this. You're worried you're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're worried about all kinds of things. You look into Congress to help you, and you got these bozos up there. What the hell is going on there? And who looks at that and is like, thank God he's fighting for me. Thank God he's on my side. Oh, my God, man. I can't believe some of this stuff, man. I really can't. Some of the nonsense these people in the government will do. Like, seriously, I'm not going to speculate here on what's going on. I don't know what's going on, right? It could be many things. Either way, it doesn't seem like everything's fine, right? I don't know if it was like physical. I don't know if it was like a little like weird mental episode. I don't know if it was, his back, his knees. I don't know if his Achilles were seizing up. He had a peg leg. I don't know what it is. Either way, it doesn't give me confidence. I don't see this and go, okay, thank God. These people are definitely going to kind of get their act together, and they're going to figure stuff out, and they're going to get this bill passed, and they're going to do what's right for this country. I just don't feel that when I look at this stuff. I really don't. I mean, look at this. Like, what? I know it's just like, always waddle around and stuff, but it's like, what the hell, man? It's like, who's responsible for not getting this stimulus thing passed? That's like screwing a lot of people over. They are. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's it's a nuance. That's why sometimes, man, it really is tough to even like pay attention to this stuff a little bit. Yeah, that's the point, right? They want to make it so frustrating for anyone to pay attention to. They just don't. Cause it's like you read into any of this here, it's like, oh my God, that is makes me so mad. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Guarantee you, Jerry Nadler and Nancy Pelosi are reelected. Guarantee you. Are you referring to the Nancy Pelosi when she, the weird Sunday morning thing? Yeah, exactly. I'm coming to my point, right? It's like, yeah, I've like seen Nancy Pelosi like look old and just kind of like, and like, how do I put across like just like maybe he just shard? Yeah, maybe he did shard, dude. I'm not gonna speculate, but it did. I am gonna get an RTX 3080, yeah. If I can find one, yeah, I'm gonna get one. Even though NVIDIA cards, I feel like are probably like, you will regret this purchase one day more than anything. Because like, yeah, one day you'll go on Twitter or open up a news app, and it's like, oh, they just released a card way better than yours, you idiot. And it's like, oh, well, what the hell? What am I going to do? Yes, I am solo tonight. No Cardin tonight. He has prior engagements, I believe. Who the fuck? You know what, dude? That's a great point. You know what's sad, though? You said, who votes for these people? I guarantee you Nadler and Pelosi win. Like, guarantee you. They probably win by like 30 points. It won't even be close. And we're going to be wondering, like, what the hell is this? Who votes for these people? Sometimes it legitimately feels like no one, right? Like, you don't talk to anyone that votes for these people. They just rule over you. It's like, they're just, or it's like people are just like, they're always in charge. And people just kind of go along like, yeah, they're always in charge. People hate other people's congressmen, but they love their own. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that. But I mean, like, Nancy Pelosi, though, she's Speaker of the House. That's the other thing, too. It's not like Nancy Pelosi is like just a member of Congress. She's a Speaker of the House. And there's just, and again, like, I really honestly don't care. Like the politics aside, man. Like, I have the same stance always, which is, dude, and I don't like any of them. But Nancy Pelosi is one of those people. I have so little confidence in her, especially now. It's just like, what the hell does she do? Seriously, what does she do? Like, it was this calendar. 2020 was on the calendar when her impeachment was still running. Does anyone even remember that? That happened this year? I know it's a crazy year, lots happened. But like, what the hell? What the hell was it all about? It was even like during the beginning of coronavirus. Like, what the hell was that all about? Especially because, like, they went through this whole thing, this whole song and dance. It fails, and they just kind of go like, whatever. Oops. Guess you got us. Like, what the? Like, years of, like, nothing can get done. Nothing can happen on healthcare. Democrats are the majority in the House. Could they get any healthcare stuff put in front of the Senate? Oh, Mitch McConnell will just shoot it down. I don't know, maybe. But guess what else Mitch McConnell just shot down was the impeachment. Like, I don't know what. But don't worry, they'll find something, some shiny object more important than this stimulus to distract them, even though they're supposed to do it today. To the point where, you know what, the more I look into this, what the hell, if they do get this passed, I mean, God, I don't know, this Mark Cuban idea of you have to spend it in 10 days, I don't know if I can ever get that. Look at that, whatever they want, an iPad, rent, a toy for a kid. Like what? Like it's like, well, I might as well just go to, well, I can't go to Toys R Us. You know, like what, you just buy toys on Amazon? Also, could I do things like, people used to do this, right? Getting back to Mark Cuban's idea of the $1,000 every 2 weeks, but you have to spend it every 10 days. People used to do this thing, they used to go to GameStops, you know, like GameStops to sell video games when people had stores. And you'd go in and you'd pre-order like 7 or 8 games that haven't came out yet, and you pay in full. And then all you have to do is walk into a GameStop, which they're like at every mall in the country, and just walk up to the counter, cancel one of your pre-orders, and they give you cash. And the guy was like, it's better than ATM. I could have $500 just floating around in a GameStop pre-orders. And whenever I need, walk in and cancel them. Is that cool? Can I do that? Can I save money that way? Just have like a bunch of pending orders I can cancel whenever I want open? And again, stock, can I just, I don't know. Either way, things are getting so ridiculous. I mean, dude, I have to imagine these big brains that are doing the bean counting when it comes to the economy, when they're like, well, I mean, naturally, you have to imagine that, you know, the House is going to get something passed eventually. So the House gets something passed eventually. You know, that's going to be stimulus money. Stimulus money's good. You know, we'll look at $1 trillion. And then it's like, no, you get none of it. Like, I love it. Like, again, let me know if I'm wrong, chat. I'm not going to say that I know everything about the way that everything in the government works. Just the way I understand it, realistically, the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg shouldn't have that much of an impact on the day-to-day operations of the, like, House of Representatives. Like, Congress should be able to put a bill together still. I can see how it can make it tough in the Senate, because I think the Senate will be busy. But even then, I think they have a majority, and it shouldn't be that busy. But, like, I don't see why the Congress wouldn't just be like, well, we'll be busy over here. Hey, wouldn't it be a nice PR win for the Democrats to be like, we put forward an olive branch, basically, and a stimulus bill to send money to people? Maybe that would be a pretty good stick, too, to force the Republicans to say, hey, Democrats are getting some goodwill. Maybe that's the, I don't know, I'm not a political strategist, but I don't see how screwing around with people's money is going to be what wins them over, you know? Because here's the other thing, right? Democrats put like 4 of these bills in front of the Senate. All of them get shot down. They look better. They'll be like, hey, now, you know, the reality could be a million things, right? They could have the pony fund for every kid under the age of 5 in there that, you know, we can't pass. This is stupid. But still, it's better than nothing. It's better than a picture of Nancy Pelosi's face and another headline that says Congress can't find a way to come to a stimulus bill, right? Better than that. I love this. Vaccine timing is the big wild card for 2021. Oh, man, that could be a wild card. The good news is that Goldman Sachs thinks consumer spending will not be hurt as much as feared, which I could see. If people are saving money, it's like, yeah, they have any savings. Indicators of consumer spending have trended higher even in 7 weeks after enhanced unemployment benefits elapsed. The report said that's why Goldman Sachs expects softer but still modestly positive consumer spending in the fourth quarter. I mean, I think the big reason why is because a lot of the aid, like, let's go back over and see what they're talking about putting in this package, right? There is the direct payments to households, right? And I think that's where you're going to see a lot in consumer spending. But Paycheck Protection Program as well, right? But like a lot of the stuff, it's in the federal. I guess a lot of this stuff, but I don't know. Like I have to imagine like people like you kind of have to buy things to live. Like there's food, there's just things people spend money on. But yeah, it's gonna be like people aren't gonna be investing. People aren't going to be taking the state unemployment benefits they saved up for 4 months and trying to invest it. Yeah, that's not gonna be happening. Like all that stuff's not gonna be there because I don't know. I don't know, chat. What do you guys think? Let me know in chat. What do you guys think? What do you? I mean, I don't even know what to say here. It's like. And yeah, I mean, the House has put some bills, but again, like the House has not meaningfully put something in front of the Republicans or just the Senate since the beginning of August, basically, and that's not good, man. Well, the House put something forward, yes, months ago. There's a two-party system here, I guess, in many senses, right? But like they can't come to an agreement. And then just throwing their hands up and saying, we put one in front of you guys a few months ago. You didn't want it. To hell with all of America. I guess. I don't know. I mean, they passed one already, by the way. It's not like it hasn't happened before. It's not like it's impossible. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why it's so bad that everything has become so highly politicized because there's some things that need to not be politicized, Like, there needs to be that line, right, where, like, even in Congress and Senate, they'll be like, okay, let's get this done, and then we can go back to fighting over, flag burning or bathrooms or whatever. But, like, we'll get the important nuts and bolts, like the economy, and like, that's just deteriorated over the last, in my brief adult lifetime now watching this. It's just deteriorated completely. To the point of just like, if it literally is not helping people out when you mandated their businesses closed, whatever, to hell with them, that's on you, babe. It's ridiculous. Ben, I know. Hey, you bring it up. Talked about it a lot lately. Marianne brought it up with Andrew Yang. She's like, so which party's like not getting bills, and like why which party hasn't done anything in months when it comes to this? Because yeah, it's not like a party issue. If the tables were turned, Republicans would be doing the same thing. They'd be dragging their feet and stamping their feet and going like, no, I don't want to pass one. I don't feel like it. You don't want to pass one. There are better things to do. Like it's hilarious. Whenever any of these like I always love when you get like one of these like big cycles where, like it's like, oh, we're gonna call such and such politician or such and such party hypocrites. Like, why? What's the point? Yeah, they're all hypocrites all the time. I mean, we tweeted the video the other day. It was from, I'm assuming 2008, 2009, maybe 2007, around then, of Joe Biden. Joe Biden literally like a frustrated tone, like, I don't want to talk about this. Marriage, it was between a man and a woman. It's settled. Is that what Joe Biden believes now, really? No. He fought like hell to make sure that's what people knew 12 years ago. Do I fault him for that? No, he's a politician. That's kind of what they do. But that's just, also, again, they're politicians, kind of what they don't fault any of them for, really. Mainly because I don't respect any of these people that much anyway, because I know they're like this. Yeah, I don't know, guys. So let's see. Where are we at here? Probably going for a little bit longer here just because no card tonight and I need to get to do some other things. But I wonder how many unemployment numbers or what they are actually there to, or what for them to actually help people. That's the worst thing too with unemployment as well is that, I mean, we saw roughly 1 million people, according to, I believe it was CNN, applied for unemployment for the first time, I think like in the last month or so. Which is crazy since they already ran out of money for the first wave of people doing this. So you really do wonder. Here's the other thing too, is there's kind of like the nuts and bolts, like again, there's kind of like the theoretical, I guess, and then like what actually happens, right? And I guess where theoretically you would imagine like But how many businesses limped along there for a while, right? How many? How many businesses aren't technically closed now, but they're not like, as good as they used? I mean, like, how much of that's going on? It's funny. Sly Cactus says that it's hard to tell when a politician is being a hypocrite or if they actually change their mind. I don't know what the difference is, to be honest. I really don't. Like, they kind of can both be true in a lot of instances, right? I don't know. Anyway, Adam Duffy, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, man. Did everyone drop a like? Unless you think our government is filled with competent, fearless leaders, then please dislike. Yes. If anyone sees a Big Jerry come waddling over to him and goes, "Oh, thank God, my hero," please feel free to dislike this video. And anyone looks at the. How about also? I love. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into it. It's very interesting. David Castanedas. I work for the SBA and it's a shit show. I can imagine, man. I can only imagine, honestly. Let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to show you guys. I don't know why I can't find it. I'm trying to pull it back up. I had it pulled up and I wanted to show you guys, and dang it. It's going to be one of those things. Oh, there we go. We'll talk about this. This wasn't it, but we'll talk about this one last thing here. Oh, interesting. Silver Fang, how would you speed second stimulus check talks? Again, this is not my job or expertise. However, I do think with the amount of time that's lapsed, Democrats should have got a bill at least in front of the Republicans. The more times the Republicans don't pass the stimulus, whatever the Democrats put in front of them, the worse the Republicans look. Even if Democrats are being unreasonable, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying they necessarily were. I think they kind of like it almost felt like, and I'm not going to pretend that again. I'm some political scientist, but looking into the first bill they passed, I forgot how many months ago, but a couple months ago now, before they went in their first vacation and let this thing lapse, it almost felt like kind of an opening position. Like, there was a lot of stuff in there. It's like, yeah, that's probably not going to get past the stimulus, but okay, let's work here. And then now it's been on Democrats since, right? The more time Democrats are putting the ball in the Republicans' court and saying, like, fine, here you go, pass this. Even if it won't pass or whatever, it makes them look worse. Makes Republicans look unreasonable. Even if they're not being unreasonable. Again, just my opinion. I'm not saying that's the lay of the land. I'm not a political scientist. But I don't know. That's personally what's frustrating me. It's like they're not even giving the White House a chance to surprise them and say, you know what? We'll have to concede because people need this money. They're basically just kind of stalemating. Like, well, we're not going to move, so the hell with you. Well, at least that appears to be all the reports. And again, it's not like Nancy Pelosi's gone somewhere. It's not like you don't see her. It's not like she's on the phone 13 hours a day. Like, how are we going to get this done? I have constituents, not only in San Francisco, but across the entire country. I'm the Speaker of the House. I need help. I need to get these people money. What's it going to take? I don't see that at all from Nancy Pelosi. That's my point. She seems like, well, if they're not going to give us what we want, to hell with them. And by extension, to hell with all you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I see that I don't like. I guess I could be off on that, right? I don't know. But that's what I see, and I'm just like, Jesus, man. Do a little something. I mean, make it... Let's do something, right? I feel like I see Nancy Pelosi's face all the time, and it's never talking about this. It's always just some other thing. Just, well, we might impeach Trump. It's like, hey, it'd be some great damn goodwill going into that impeachment. Why don't you give everyone a bunch of money first? Or how about this? How about you try to give people money? You even just pretend you're conceding. Make the Republicans look irrational and unreasonable. And then say, hey, look at these people. They're irrational and unreasonable. But the narrative I keep seeing is stories that can look like this. Let me see if I can pull another one up of them, right? I'm still seeing stuff like this. I'm still seeing articles, and again, this is Market Watch. This is on Breitbart, right? That the House Democrats are trying to prep a new bill, but they're having trouble coming down from their original. The proposal would formalize Democrats finally coming down from their original offer. I added the finally, didn't say that, right? But it's unclear if it will advance talks, right? Like it's like I keep hearing that basically the ball was put back in the Democrats' court a few months ago, and they've just done nothing. They've just said we can't figure out what we want. And even today, they're $1 trillion apart. Like, it's like how crazy. You know, it reminds me. I was watching a TV show, right? And two people are trying to negotiate, right? And one person says 40%, and one guy says 5%, right? And one of the guys says, "I'm saying 40, you're saying 5. Which one of us is being ridiculous?" We got one side saying 1.3, and we got one side saying 2.4. Which one? Or 2.2, I guess, right? Which one's being ridiculous? Someone's got to be at this point. That's too big of a gulf for it just to be, slight disagreement. Matter of opinion. Sly Cactus, $5 said, she could at the very least pull a yank and give out money to families during the pandemic. Even if only a few hundred families, she has the money. Dude, Nancy Pelosi seems to be one of the most... She seems to just literally not care what anyone thinks about her. She's like, I'm Nancy Pelosi, man. Don't care at all. I'm rich. I'm fine. I'm good. I'll do whatever I want. Like I really have never seen Nancy Pelosi damage control for any kind of like optics thing, right? Like, oh, she kind of came across looking callous, or she kind of came across looking out of touch. I've never seen her even be concerned about that at all. That's never seemed like an issue for her. Because I don't think it is, dude. Nancy Pelosi's doing pretty well for herself, really, right? I think is she the only, like, isn't she like one of the only people in general of either political party to be Speaker of the House twice? I don't know. I don't have the bar trivia answer off the top of my head, but I mean, like, she's very accomplished. What the hell she need? I saw someone actually bring this up about Joe Biden, right? And they said, like, I forgot who it was. I can't give him credit. But they're like, what if Joe Biden gets elected, doesn't do anything anyone asked him to do, and then doesn't run for a second term? He'll be like 80. Like, what the hell does he care, man? People mad at him. Oh, come on, Joe. You said you were going to do this. He'd be like, whatever, dude. I'm like 80 years old. My grandkids will probably be living off the Biden fortune. Like, what the hell I care, man? Oh, I didn't pass your health care. I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm not saying that's necessarily it, but there is a thing about that, right? The older people get in life, the more they're just kind of like, shove off, you idiots. I'll do whatever I want. I know who I am. I'm 70-something years old. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to bow. I wonder if that's Nancy Pelosi, right? She's like, look, I've been doing this for years. My second time as Speaker. I'm going to listen to you people. Oh, you don't like how I do business? Well, don't elect me then. Guess what? I'll win. And they're right. She will win. I mean, I'm not going to speculate to the extent of corruption at any level. But Joe Biden obviously helped Hunter Biden get paid just through osmosis, even just like he's his dad, and he's like, hey, but as Joe Biden, he's famous. Again, I'm not gonna speculate on corruption, but I'm just saying, like, even just by being famous, by the fact that Joe Biden's just known internationally, helped Hunter out. Like, what the hell are you gonna worry about? Especially here's the thing about this. Like, I'm not saying specifically Joe Biden. Like, a lot of these politicians, right? Like, if they if they get elected to Senate and they let down their constituents in, I don't know, let's say Nebraska, but they forge connections in like Saudi Arabia and China, you think they care? Think they care these dudes in Nebraska are like, what the hell? You said you're going to fight for healthcare. They're like, yeah, I'm a consultant now for a Saudi Arabian, like whatever company, and I make like 5 times more money, and like, the hell with you guys. That's what worries me. There's a lot of times where it's like, because politicians do that, right? They promise things, they get elected, they don't do them. This happens. But like, where's ever like the comeuppance, right? Where's ever like it feels like the comeuppance is they work at CNN and they have like 4 other jobs and other networks, and they make 6 figures from like 5 different places. They got like 7 income streams. They write a book. Like, where's the come on? Where's theirs? You know, theirs is like their nephew gets a job in China working on some company for a bunch of money. That's them getting theirs. And again, think about that. You're getting jobs for family members in 4 countries, making more money they ever heard of. You think you're gonna care? You let down your what's what I'm looking for? Your congressional district? Oh no, my constituents in my district aren't happy. A lot of these people evidently don't, man. They're just fine taking that money. And they're like, fine, I don't care. I'm on a board on some company. I don't even know what this thing is. I work for them. They're like, fine. Like, I wonder how many of these people are honest. Like, I dare you to fire me. Like, vote me, I dare you. See what happens. People won't, and they don't. And they finally do, and they're like, okay, cool. I'm going to get a job at MSNBC as some senior political advisor. I'm just going to come up here and badmouth you people every single day. I'm going to badmouth my old colleagues. I'm going to badmouth them. I'm going to badmouth voters. What the hell do I care? I'm unaccountable to anyone now. I mean, I always was, but now I'm in the media. That's why I remain a little bit critical of Andrew Yang joining CNN. I understand it. I get it. Like, I get the strategy of it. I'm not like, how dare he? But I'm critical of it. I mean, I don't like it because that's what they love to do. Like I always say, man, there's like this like joke in like the government, right? Where if you have like a subordinate, if you have an employee and you're like a manager somewhere in the government, right? And you have an employee underneath you and they're just unmanageable. You just can't deal with them. They don't do work. They're impossible to deal with. They cause problems. They steal credit, whatever it is. The best way to get rid of them is to just promote them. Just someone else's problem. Moving on up. It's too hard to fire. You just get them out of your sight. Move them up. I don't know. I almost feel like that's what we do with politicians. It's like we vote them out and like, okay, cool. I'm going to go be a consultant somewhere and make more money than I did before. So, thanks. Thank you for that. Now I'm going to go be lucratively wealthy somewhere. And let me stress something too. This is a big country with a bunch of elected representatives. There's a lot of good people that do have offices somewhere across this country. You don't know their name. They don't get anything done. But it's because they're good, hardworking rubes that actually believe in the government working the way it's intended. So you'll never hear of them. You never will. You're only going to hear the one. And that's what I'm talking about. Like when I'm talking about this, I'm not saying every single person ever elected to Congress ever. But I'm talking about the kind of people who find a way to worm their way in front of a camera every single day. Kind of people that are thinking long game. Like, yeah, but what about after politics? Like those kind of people who I'm talking about. Them and then the people that are like the opposite. There is no after politics. I will die in office, which is like how many of these people, But there's plenty of, Congress people, senators that do work, they do try hard. I mean, for example, people say what you want about her. I think Tulsi on her way out of politics, by the way, but I think Tulsi Gabbard was one of them. I think she actually thought maybe she could, help do some of these things. Specifically, she was, interested in war intervention overseas. That was kind of her big thing, being from National Guard. And you see what happens. She's out now. I don't think she's running at all. I think she's literally going to be a private citizen in a few months here. That's how it goes, right? She could have went the other way. She could have been famous, like these other people, but sorry. Whenever I think about that stuff, it gets me so upset. It really does. Just thinking of these people, these people literally getting drunk on our own money just to not serve us. That's honestly what goes on at Capitol Hill, in state capitals across this country. And I just want to pull my hair out thinking of these people, right? Sitting around doing nothing for me, literally drinking themselves, stumbling around on my money. And we give them with our taxes. They get paid. They don't pay for these drinks. That's not all of them, but again, you know what I'm talking about. There's definitely a certain type of politician, right? I'm not gonna name names. I've seen these damn people. Heard some stories. because like it's like public. They'll just be like, "Yep, the House of Representatives spent $1 million on booze on airline flights this year. That was in the budget." Like the hell with these people? What? They're like, why? They can't spend their own money? This is like coming out of their budget? Okay, sorry. Gotta calm down here. We're gonna wind down here in a few minutes. God. Like I was looking at, like, the government. Okay. The government. How do I put this? Sorry, I was trying to. The article I was looking for right here. I tweeted about this, but within the government, local, county, state, federal, and they actually call them this, like, kind of like unofficially, but you'll see it illegally. They literally have what the mafia has. They call them no-show jobs. It's when somebody has a job and they get paid for it, but they don't actually do anything. They don't actually show up. They just have a position and get paid. That exists in our government. You know that? They literally have Tony Soprano no-show jobs in the federal government, and they always have. Because it's favors. Same reason why the mafia has them. Favors. Tell you what. Give your nephew a job. He'll work for some bureau, right? You show up once a quarter for a meeting, people see you, and you get paid $85,000 a year. Sure. Cool. All right. Sounds good for me. There we go. This is an article from, we'll finish up here. It's an article from The Hill. When I crop The Hill for my thing, it does this, so I'm going to have to do it creative. But it's Washington's heavy drinking waves in spotlight. 4/28/18. Check this out. President Trump's nominee to lead the Department of Veterans Affairs withdrew his name from consideration this week after a number of serious allegations were raised about his stewardship as White House physician, including that he drank on the job. The allegations against Ronnie Jackson of excessive drinking shine a light on a problem that, while not unique to Washington, is particularly acute in the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. has the highest rate of binge drinking, of binge and problem drinking in America. It's a booze problem fueled by a uniquely stressful environment where many of the corporate structures of accountability oversight don't exist. I love it. The corporate structures of accountability and oversight, i.e. they work for the federal government or other federal organizations. It's not like an actual company, right? Where your boss would be like, "What the hell are you drinking on the job? Are you kidding me?" No, it's more like, "Hey, you want a drink? We're just going to pretend we're reading this up." Anyway, the days of the 3-martini lunch may be gone, but they have been replaced by hard partying nights filled with fundraisers, receptions, or long bar tabs. There is just a strong push and culture of intoxication in D.C. It's been like that for a long time, said Kevin Sabet, who served in the White House's Office of the National Drug Control Policy in 3 different administrations. I love that. 3 different administrations. It's not a Republican or Democrat issue. It really cuts across all ideologies, you betcha. This weekend, Washington's political class will hobnob during at least 10 events surrounding the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where the drinks flow freely. The most common complaint of the dinner itself is that empty wine bottles are not replaced with sufficient speed. During the holiday season, it is possible to spend weeks in a row drinking free while hopping from reception to reception, sponsored by all manner of corporations and interest groups. Hey, at least then we're not paying for it, right? At least then they're just drinking on someone else's dime. Listen to this. I love this. Half a dozen current and former aides and members of Congress, all of whom asked for anonymity to shed light on an unsavory side of the culture within government, said a combination of factors contribute to a heavy drinking environment. Members are away from their families for long stretches of excuses. Lobbyists and supplicants are eager to please, whether via campaign contributions or a cocktail, and few formal rules governing workplace environments exist in the halls of Congress or in the White House. What the hell does that mean? Is that meaning formally there's no rules against drinking in the halls of Congress or the White House? And I believe it's more or less yes. Virtually everyone who works in or around the government has a story. It's do as I say and not as I do, said one Republican farm member of Congress. One senior aide recalled his early days in Capitol Hill when the member of Congress for whom he was interning found a door off his hinges in the Longworth House office building.
The room became a table on which the member and his staff would play beer pong, positioned over a conference table so as not to leave stains on the more permanent furniture. The tournaments began before noon on Fridays and often lasted until midnight. Noon on Fridays. Senate aid. Listen to this. I mean, the member of Congress. I want to just paint this picture for you guys. I don't know what you guys do afternoon on Fridays. Generally, it's the wind down. I'm normally working, but I'm winding down. I'm not playing damn beer pong in my office. That's what congressmen do. Love that. They began before noon and often lasted until midnight. Excessive drinking among America's political leaders is as old as the Republic itself. This is true. I don't really care about what George Washington did as far as drinking goes. Let's go to this. In more recent years, ex-rep Mark Foley admitted to being drunk Republican of Florida when he sent inappropriate text messages to underage pages. I mean, bad, but this is more the thing that drives me up the damn wall, man. I don't care. I don't care if your hip tech startup wants to, play beer pong on Fridays. That's cool, man. Maybe some of these people get federal tax funds, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I don't care, man. Knock yourself out. But when you have congressman or woman, right? This is member of Congress being like, hey, it's noon on Friday. You know what that means, guys? Beer pong while the damn stooges who elected us are working. Sorry, I'll have to wind down here in a minute. I already went a few minutes longer than I wanted to go here. Today, Washingtonians purchase more alcohol on a per capita basis than any state except New Hampshire. Awesome. I love this. And then here comes the excuses. Well, the high stakes of nature in a government job, When you have a profession with they have large presence in Hollywood. Shut up, man. I don't know. I guess he works for the National Institute in Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. We know that high-powered jobs, high income, that's a risk factor for excessive drinking. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, it's tough being a congressman. That's why I play fucking beer pong on Fridays. All right, so that's it. Come on, yeah, where's Joe Biden to say, come on, man. Come on, man. You see you drinking like this? Yeah, exactly. I don't care if politicians have drinks. Don't care. Again, I don't love it because it's like they're politicians and like we're employed. Like in a way, it's like they're our employees, right? Like that's why I guess who the hell in Congress is gonna call it a congressman for being drunk? It's like I'm not his boss. He's not my boss. What do I care? It's not like responsibility, right? I mean, again, I'm not gonna get too particular, right? But like I've literally heard stories of like elected officials, right? Just like being found lying on the ground, like bleeding because they fell and hit their head, just drunk, stumbling home, and they have to cover it up. It's like, oh crap! Like, and again, like as they mentioned in this article, it's like, well, it's because these people could literally just walk from banquet room to banquet room, getting plied with alcohol. But here's the other thing I don't like about that, right? You know who else gets plied with free alcohol? Gamblers and casinos. You want to know why they do that? Because they want you to stay and they want you to make dumb decisions. I wonder why, as they put it. Let me see if they have the, there we go. I wonder if these corporations and interest groups also want these politicians to hang around and make poor decisions. I wonder if that's the thing, you know what I mean? I wonder if that's anything to do with it. What do they care, though? Hey, free martinis, I'll hang out another hour, man. Everyone hangs out and likes me, talks about how cool I am, gives me free drinks. Hey, Mr. Senator, Mr. Congressman. I mean, I know this is hyperbolic. This is pure speculation. I wonder how many politicians wake up and say, I agree to what? I signed off on doing what last night? Like, yeah, I mean, it's not like official, but you did kind of tell them you're going to go through with this. It's like, yeah, 12 martini. What are you talking about? Like, oh. But hey, maybe in the state with more binge drinking and free booze, Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somehow our politicians are just like freaking Terminators, man. You know, I put away 15 drinks, just, you know, mentally school these stupid, well-paid corporations and interest groups. Oh, I wonder if they're getting played like damn fools. I wonder if that's the case, right? I wonder how many people in Congress, getting back to these stimulus bills, are sitting there, they're standing at that clock like, you know what? It's 11 p.m. I'm going to go do a TV hit and then let's get out of here at the bar. Like, how many Congress people have that kind of like, how do I drag my feet till I could get to the bar and just get drunk and drag myself home mentality? You know? Like, millions of Americans are in that position, no offense to them. Dude, it's one thing when you, like, running numbers as an accountant at some company. It's when you're a congressperson. Like, you would hope they'd have more. You'd hope a congressperson like, I'm just trapped in the rat race, you know? You just 9 to 5, then get drunk and do it again. It's like, what? No, we... Okay, sorry. Keep going. Any questions you guys want, throw them in chat. Any other things you want to talk about it. But, that's just like literally one of my, obviously I have no love for anyone in government. My biggest pet peeve is the fact that these people drink on our time and our dime and then don't do anything for us. That is where I just am like incensed. Seriously, who in chat could just show up to work drunk tomorrow? Who in chat could show up to work an hour late, hungover off your ass, and start drinking in the office at 2 p.m.? Let me know who that is in chat. That's your congressman. I'm not saying they're doing it, but they can if they want to. And that's wrong. But here's the thing. That's also, unofficially, one of the perks. You think they're going to get rid of it? Let me get a bunch of congressmen who drink on the job and abuse the free alcohol they get from their connections together to condemn this thing we all do. Okay, yeah. I know there's some people, but I mean, like, I love the euphemism they use in this article. What was the one euphemism they have here? They have one that is, I love this. I love this euphemism. Few formal rules governing workplace environments exist in the halls of Congress or the White House. What the hell does that mean, huh? What the hell does that mean? Well, members are away from their families for long stretches, you know? Lobbyists. Like, it literally sounds like conmen and shysters show up, ply our politicians full of booze, and then get them to agree to things. And that's just like the way DC works, and everyone knows it. You know what's funny? Doesn't that kind of explain Congress? They're drunk all the time. It's like, what the hell's Congress? It's like nothing they do helps people. Everyone's pissed at them all the time. Congress, like, it's like bipartisan. When Congress is Republican or Democrat for like 70 years, their approval rating is like 5%. Everyone hates them. Maybe it's just because they're a bunch of no good drunks. They always have been. I don't know. But just imagine that. You're relying on these people to fight for your rights and your interests up there in D.C. And they're like, oh, I'm so hungover. Oh, my God, dude. When does this day end? I got to get out of here. It's the person you're relying on. Again, not all of them, but you know what I'm talking about. You know the people. You see them. You can see these bloated alcoholic faces on some of them. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I get talking about this stuff and I just go too long. Because it's just... I get they get perks, man, but... Oh, man, how you doing, man? I'm sure we rely on drunk doctors sometimes without knowing it. Oh, yeah. But here's the thing. Do you know what a doctor would do if he showed up to work drunk? You know what he would do? He'd hide it. These people do. I doubt any of them care. I doubt any of these people care if people know they're drunk. Again, they're playing beer pong. I vividly remember reading an article where a state politician was defending the office keg she had. The keg in her office. She's like, what the hell? Everyone has office kegs. What are you coming after me for? It's not like new. Like, it's like special that I have one. What the hell with you people? There's office kegs in these state buildings. Why? I'm sure everyone pooled together their lunch money to buy it too, right? It doesn't come out of any budgets. They don't. No, you see what I mean? You said put vodka in a water bottle. They don't have to put vodka in a water bottle, man. They can have the martini glass with the olives they want, walking around. Who are you guys doing? Oh, sorry, I gotta do a TV hit real quick. It's very important that we pass these bills. Anyway, how you guys doing? Woo. These people, man. What I'm describing literally happened to our local congressperson. She was young. She went up to D.C. and she was like a mess, by all accounts. Not gonna get into all of that. I don't know what's public or was, but she was a mess. She was drinking. She was abusing pills, allegedly. But still, it's like, yeah, dude, you're sending these kids off to the lion's den, man. You think these people have been in Congress for 20 years? They've been drinking their ass off for 20 years. You gotta hang with them. That's what they don't tell you. You know what I mean? They don't tell you to prepare for that. It's like, hey, when you get up there, you're going to be drinking with people that have been pounding whiskey from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. like 7 days a week for the last 25 years. You understand that, right? And hey, no one likes someone that can't hang. I wonder how many politicians get peer pressured into literally getting blackout drunk by other politicians. Just because they're degenerate, awful people. Again, I'm a little bit biased here because I hate politics. I hate politicians, all of them. Each and every last one of them. That's why I imagine these people. And again, not all of them. They're decent people, but you know what I mean. The people that are good at politics, that's why I imagine them. I imagine them getting these young people into bars. Hey, how would you like to, we're going to go get some drinks after work. You want to come with us? You know, like, congressperson, yeah. You know, and then they just get you super drunk as a joke. And like, come on, get out of here. And you know what's funny? I'm not talking about Congress. Every single state in this country has at least some kind of like, state chambers. I think a lot have two. For example, in California here, we have a state senate and a state assembly. What kind of oversight? Let me tell you something. How many people can name their local like state politics reps? You know what kind of stuff those people get away with? Because no one cares. Like, no one knows these people are. They could literally go to the drunk and like break a bottle on someone's head and get thrown out. No one even know who they are. It would just be like some guy. Imagine stuff they're up to, man. I mean, you hear about some of the things politicians get busted for sometimes. You're like, how is this possible? Either way. Okay. Anyway, guys, I got to stop here. 6:30 was my absolute latest. So thank you, everyone, for joining and hanging out today while we talked about how special these people are that really represent us, huh? Some great people. Either way, probably going to post a video again tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be streaming it all this weekend, but stay tuned, guys. We'll definitely be streaming at the very least Monday. So if I don't see any of you guys until then, have a great weekend. If you're out in Louisville or any of those areas, stay safe. I have the patterns seem to be that I would imagine a Saturday might be kind of rough this weekend in certain cities or areas, so just stay safe. Adam Duffy, Cardin, Dems are awful Ellis, and Cody, if you're in office, you're awful the Oracle. I mean, again, there's some people that, I don't know, man, by the grace of God, I guess, are just good, decent people that make it in politics, but I don't hear about them. No one tells me about them. They tell me about these TV stars / wrestling personalities that are awful, terrible people. So, again, have a great weekend, everyone. Take care, and go Lakers.